Well, hello there. Welcome to Steele and Vance. Linda Steele looking
very
fabulous.
White. You know what? I have discovered that at this time of the evening, we have a lot of our fans and viewers who are watching with their own chips and their own glass. And so these are just some of the photos that were sent in from last week. People were saying, oh, sorry, we're doing some renos, but we're watching the show.
Trixie's mom.
Thanks for watching, Karen. We also saw from Genobi One.
I love this.
Who was showing us that everybody's got a little cocktail and their chips out. And this person likes to take photos of us in funny action
That's
sort of
what
poses.
we were giving you the sorrow over the Oilers being
I
out
know.
of the playoffs. We were International Caesar Day last week.
So here's the thing. We love to know where you're watching from, who you are, what kind of chips and cocktail you're having. So get in touch. This is going to be our viewing party. And we're going to show them on the show next week and every week until the summertime, and the show is wrapping for the season.
And we do the hiatus, and then we come back for season 2. If you haven't heard, we're coming back for season 2. So we're building the viewing party every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. Or if you're watching the replay on a Sunday, you can set up, it can be a mocktail. It doesn't need to be boozy, but it can be, because we love our liquor sponsor.
Our show sponsor, Cascadia Liquor, has served up the pour of the week is a White Claw Black Cherry Vodka, which honestly, White Claw's doing a great job, and so is Cascadia. And honestly, check out this locally owned and operated franchise because we love them. Thank you so much for serving up a delicious cocktail, sugar-free.
Sugar-free, my friend, sugar-free. Okay.
Time for
Hot Headlines. We got something to talk about, Linda. I'm going to kick us off here. Because it is about Surrey Police Services. This was not in the rundown for you. I asked you, can we please just touch on it, because it's been a hot button topic today. I've been tuned in. I saw, full disclosure if you're new to the show, Linda's husband is Norm Lipinski, who is the chief of the Surrey Police Services. I watched Norm and listened to Norm speak about this open letter that he has put out on behalf of his employees, the people who are living in limbo. You know, the backstory we could do an hour on, how the province of British Columbia has recommended that Surrey move forward with the Surrey Police Services and move away from the RCMP unless the RCMP can meet a bunch of mandated conditions, thank you, because
the mayor has said no. So at the end of the day, we're still in stasis, and there are hundreds of people, thousands of people, including family members, both RCMP and Surrey Police Service, who are saying, just give us a deadline, make your final decision, let's be done with this.
So maybe the 5th,
it's super stressful.
Maybe June 5th, because this report that Brenda Locke, the mayor of Surrey, said she had not had eyes on, she has to sign an NDA to see it. But a couple of councillors apparently have now signed the NDA and read it. I wonder where it goes from here. Maybe June 5th, David Eby. That's where I wanted to update. Premier David Eby said June 5th.
Decision.
Come on.
That's all I want.
Surrey City Council, let's do it. Well, like the pilots came to a decision with WestJet.
Which was a good thing, because we saw on the May long weekend, people were having their flights canceled because the WestJet pilots were going on strike. It didn't last long, thank goodness. But as mentioned last weekend, Air Canada pilots are also renegotiating this summer. So the travel trouble not necessarily over just yet, and we had travel trouble with the ferries.
Yes. And we're going to talk about it all. We have opinions. I don't know if you know about this on our show. We do have a couple of opinions. We've got that also coming up on the show. We are going to talk all things Trump and DeSantis and U.S. politic chaos and how it lands here on our kitchen table.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on. Donald Trump does have some legitimate competition now in Ron DeSantis, but the legal walls are also closing in on Donald Trump. So we are going to talk to Washington correspondent Reggie Cecchini, because there's also talk with the debt ceiling, and they may default on that.
Right? Does that make you nervous?
Well, I can't believe in history they've never defaulted, I believe, and so I'm hoping they're going to figure this out, because America, get it together.
And until Donald Trump, they didn't have a reality TV show guy as their president. So now I'm worried about what might actually happen. But we've got other things coming up on the show. We're going to have fun about the currency.
Yes, because we do know after the coronation of King Charles that they immediately said at the Mint that the new Canadian 20 is going to have King Charles' photo on it. That's kind of what it might look like. That also also prompted an op-ed in the Globe today with Peter Donaldo saying, you know what, forget it. This is the time that we actually put a notable Canadian.
Maybe
Don't
you,
care.
Linda.
Well, actually, we had a little AI fun. Maybe as historical figures, Jody or I might have been someone famous and worthy enough to be on the 20. Not.
Look at me at Downton Abbey there.
However, we are going to have a historian and podcaster, Craig Barrett, on the show.
Yes.
And he has some very good suggestions. And I think you're going to go, yeah, King Charles, bye-bye.
Yeah,
we're done with that.
We're going to have a very interesting conversation. And I did hit the hot headlines a little bit early because those were headlineable moments. So let's dive right into more. No public inquiry. That is official.
Everybody was talking about the China interference. David Johnston, who's the former Governor General, came out and said, no, he is recommending there not be a public inquiry. People are angry about that, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
We know that Beijing interfered in 2 elections to help Trudeau win. We know that Beijing gave $140,000 to the Trudeau Foundation with the express purpose of buying the love and the loyalty of Justin Trudeau.
I'm not that cynical as Pierre Poilievre. Not many people are. However, something stinks about this. I don't think we're ever going to get any answers. I'm not satisfied. I feel like the whole thing has left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think millions of Canadians are saying, I want to know what's going on, and I don't think we ever will.
I listened to the press briefing where the results of this were laid on the table, and I looked at this former Governor General who was appointed by Stephen Harper, who literally was grilled by reporters about who he knew when and how in trying to be tied in with the Trudeau family and what have you. And what I found most interesting in what he laid out as to his reasons why, and I am not smart enough to know all of the reasons why, but when he said there's no there, and to do an inquiry would only really put at risk some of the things that public safety and CSIS, and there was no attacks against the family of the MP that brought this to light.
Yeah, and I don't buy it.
Well, I'm just giving my opinion real quick on the fact that I feel like at some point we have to trust somebody.
Yeah.
And if it can't be this man who was appointed by a Conservative, was the Governor General, has basically stood there, I feel that there are some people watching right now that feel like I do. I'm way not as cynical as Pierre Poilievre, and I'm tired about the partisan nature of this.
Johnston was the wrong person, too tight with the Trudeau family. Well, and I think that there is lots of evidence that it absolutely can talk about secret documents and affairs, and it's been done before with Maharar. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's go to the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Yeah. So you know that there have been the shoes representing the children who lost their lives at the residential schools, and there was this memorial that all the First Nations in the Lower Mainland said, we do not want the memorial there. It's an inappropriate place. They wanted to move it. There's been a lot of back and forth about this. So the city said they were going to move it, deal with it appropriately, and somebody removed all of the artifacts.
Yeah, overnight before the city came there. It's just, it's one of those, again, those situations where we have to be humble learners and listen to the people who this directly affects. And hopefully somewhere in all of this, there is a lesson as to how this should be honored, how there should be education around it, and it's just, it feels really clunky.
I would listen to the 3 First Nations. They said they did not want it there, then it shouldn't have been there. So can we also talk about something that shouldn't be in Yaletown, which is my hood? There is an overdose prevention site. A lot of people said, we don't want it there, and they said, don't worry about it. We're going to make sure there's no trouble, no mess, no people doing drugs outside, no camping on the sidewalk. Didn't happen. It is turned into a nightmare, and the residents are super unhappy about it. And so now the developer with Wall Financial is suing the city, saying they want that thing moved. It's in should not be in a residential neighborhood. And I would tend to agree. I think we need them. Is that the right location? It might be if it was maintained and managed properly, and it is not.
I wish there was more surround supports for people who are struggling with this.
Yeah.
I also wish that there was a way for big telecom companies to stop the spam calls. Do you see how many calls I got the other day? It's happening to everybody. Come on.
These are not spam calls. No. This is a new SOS feature.
That's my spam calls. Yeah. That all happened. Look at the times.
I just got one
while we were on the air.
Somebody is calling me right now.
Linda Steele.
Here's the wonderful thing. 49 states have gone and launched a lawsuit against Avid Telecom. because it is responsible, they believe, for 24 billion scam calls in the U.S. And I'm thinking, I pay TELUS, that's my carrier, I pay them a lot of money, and I cannot even answer my iPhone anymore because 99.9% of the time it's a scam call.
Right. You do not pick up the phone when I call Linda, and it hurts my feelings.
I never pick up the phone
But whenever I
anymore,
pick up
and
my
I should be
beverage, you
allowed
cheers
to.
me,
I will.
which I do love you about
Cheers.
that. Okay.
Can we also quickly mention a couple of sports-related things? Ryan Reynolds, her favorite boyfriend, she likes to say, is out of the running in the owning of the Senators.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. However, we do have Steve Nash.
Yes, we
who
do.
is in the running potentially to be head coach of the Raptors.
Toronto Raptors.
He didn't have a lot of success as a head coach before.
That's okay. He's a phenomenal individual. And I love this idea of him being, you know, Canada's team's coach. And before we go to break, because we've got lots to come on the program, we have to honor the passing of Tina Turner.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I never had the privilege of seeing her in concert. Closest I ever got was a couple of feet away from Ike Turner, her ex. He was amazing, but he also caused her so much grief with the, domestic violence.
Domestic
in the
abuse.
past.
But so many people came forward because of how strong Tina Turner was about telling her story and being out in front of it. And she will be missed. It's one of those things that feels like one of those people that will be here
because
forever.
We are on the precipice now of major stars like, Paul McCartney.
Not Keith Richards.
Right. Mick Jagger. They're up in that age.
I got Stu on that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Okay. Coming up.
Later on the show, it seems to be a never-ending political news cycle in the U.S. And how does it all impact us right here? Our good friend Reggie Cicchini is going to check in from Washington, D.C.
Also ahead, good news, bad news on the travel front. BC Ferries needs to get its act together, but security lines at YVR are about to get shorter for some travelers. We're going to explain next.